you're grading sports cards, there's one question that comes up over and over again. Should you use PSA or SGC? Most people just guess or go with whatever they've heard online. But the grading company you choose can change how much your card is worth and how fast it actually sells. Same card, same grade, completely different result. If you're new here, my name is Eric Michael. I've been buying and selling sports cards since 2015, and since 2020, I've helped thousands of people learn how to do the same. So in this video, I'm going to break down PSA or SGC using real examples so you can see exactly which one to use. And if you want the full checklist of how to decide which company to use, I put a free PDF in the description below that you can reference later. Let's get into it. So this is a common question I get. When you send a card to PSA or SGC, if you're sending a modern card in for grading, you are aiming for a 10, but the grading scales are a little different. PSA, it goes from PSA 10 to PSA 9. SGC goes from SGC 10 to SGC 9.5. So an SGC 9.5 and a PSA 9, different numerical grades, but they're roughly about similar. You'll roughly about break even on your money if it grades an SGC 9.5 or a PSA 9, okay? So that's what you're aiming for. You're always aiming for that lucrative 10. The big difference between these companies is it costs right now, while I'm speaking, about $15 to get a card graded by SGC, and it takes about 40-ish business days for it to come back the lowest end service. It used to only take about a week until PSA bought SGC. PSA, the lowest end service, is the bulk service, which means you have to send at least 20 cards in your order. That's about $25 and takes about 95 business days. So PSA is roughly about 2.5 times as long to get the cards back. The reason I'm telling you that is because it's very important to distinguish which one to send to, and you know that by your budget. If you have, let's say, $500 to send on cards, I would most likely tell you send your cards to SGC, not PSA. And the reason for that is, let's take a 2025 Topps Cooper Flag card. While I'm speaking right now, a PSA 10 is worth $130 and SGC 10 is worth about $70. Raw, they're about $20 to $30 in that range. On the surface, you might say, well, PSA 10 is worth $130, SGC 10 is $70. I'll just wait to get my cards back because a PSA 10 is worth almost double an SGC 10. Yes, that's right. It's not just about what's going to make you the most amount of money. The question you have to ask yourself is what's going to make you the most amount of money with the least amount of time. In this hypothetical example of Cooper Flag, you can send this card of Cooper Flag to SGC, get it back as a 10, sell it for $70, do it again, and then do it again, most likely, before you ever get that card back from PSA, okay? So you're able to turn cards over much fast. Now, if your budget's $15,000, you can continually send cards to PSA and incur that 2 to 3 month wait time, sometimes longer. But if you only have $500 or $1,000 and you're gonna blow your budget in a week or two, it's best you get these cards back faster and you sell them for cheaper, because you make less money in the short term, but now you have cash in your hand and you can repeat that same process again and again before you ever would have got those cards back from PSA. So the term I'm using right now that I'm talking about is opportunity cost. It's not a matter of what's going to make you the most amount of money. It's what's it going to cost you if you don't do it this way versus that way. Whole nother conversation. It's a question of speed, not just what's going to make you the most amount of money, because the faster you flip cards, the more money you're going to make, okay? Despite the fact that a PSA 10 is usually worth almost double an SGC 10. Number two, if you are newer to sports cards and you're skeptical, or maybe you don't have a big budget, SGC might be your answer, because not only do you get the cards back faster, but it's about 10 to 20% easier, usually depending on the card, to get an SGC 10 than a PSA 10. So that Topps 2025 Cooper Flag card I'm talking about 35% of them sent to PSA get a 10. About 53% of them that get sent to SGC get a 10. So not only are you getting them back faster, but if you're newer to cards, you probably lack the skill to actually determine whether a card is worth grading or not. And there's more leeway because SGC is easier to grade cards and get that 10 than PSA. And if you're new to cards and you're spending some money and your wife saying, hey, you're just wasting money, this is a scam, this doesn't work, it's best you get those cards back faster and show her, hey, I sold these cards, it got a 10, I paid $50, I sold it for 110, there's profit to be made. And your wife or your aunt or your uncle or whoever's skeptical, as soon as they see it works, usually they shut up. So little piece of advice from someone who's taught this to thousands of people. To be a little bit more granular, when you are looking at a specific card, PSA is very stingy on corners. So 55-45, that ratio is what they'll allow it to get a PSA 10. Really, if there's any corner damage at all to a card, it really won't PSA 10. If there's any type of whiting on the back, the card's not a perfect right angle. For whatever reason, PSA cares a lot about the corners, they'll knock it off. So those are a few things to look at when it's SGC versus PSA. I get this question all the time. People will ask me, hey, should this card go to PSA or SGC? It's a deeper question because the question is, I want you to make as much money as possible. And the way you're going to do that is by flipping cards as fast as possible. And if your budget is lower, you're going to spend the $500 and sit on your hands for 2 months and not have any money to buy any more cards. The answer is SGC. So the question you have to ask yourself is, can you keep buying 3 to 4 to 5 cards a week and keep sending them to PSA for 2 to 3 months and keep that consistency and keep that avalanche effect, I call it, or snowball effect? Eventually in 3 months, these cards will start coming back to you every week, because that's the overall goal. You want to be consistently buying, so that means you're consistently getting cards back from PSA or SGC. So the main thing I'm trying to get at is a question of budget. It's not really a question of should this card go to PSA or SGC. Hopefully that helps you out. I get this question all the time. Hopefully that makes things very clear. There's a free PDF down below in the description. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.